carbon offsetting. So it's an interesting thing, you know. In recent years, many big companies, such as like Meta, um, Facebook, other tech companies and AI companies, and also companies involved in industry, um, they have been buying up carbon credits as a way to offset their carbon output, their pollutants that they're releasing into the air. It's a strange concept, you know, um, that um, the the destruction of one section of the world could be somehow offset by the planting of trees or other carbon sinks in other places of the world. Um, but how feasible is this really if we look at it in a case by case perspective? Um, so the way that these carbon credits work is that they mint it, and it becomes sort of like a fungible thing, like a certificate they could buy and sell. It becomes like an asset that is transactionable, um, and you could buy and sell things with it. It has inherent value, and that itself poses a risk. These carbon credits, they are highly fungible items, meaning they risk being misused as a way to as a method of money laundering. It's an inherent risk when dealing with something that's not as highly monitored as other forms of fungible transactions, um, and it has been misused in that way. Um, yeah. And another thing with carbon credits, it's that it's not really feasible in a way that when you look at like say a hectare of land in Kenya or a hectare of land in Indonesia, like how could you say like there's exactly 1 ton of carbon in that 1 acre of land or 1 hectare of land? Like it's something that's not really tangible in a way. Like you can't really count how much carbon is being stored in a given amount of land, and that poses a problem. Not only is it not very highly regulated, it also it risks not actually being in an accurate form of a measurement when you're saying that there is a certain amount of carbon in a certain place. You know, it's not really an accurate. It's not really very accurate, and I feel like that's really a problem that these the concept of carbon credits really has. And another thing, there was a case in Kenya when the Northern Kenya Rangelands Carbon Project, the NKRCP, they essentially leased 4.7 million acres of land from the Kenyan government. So this was productive land. This was land that was being used by the native population, by the indigenous population of Kenya to graze their livestock, to fish, to hunt, etc., to provide for the basic needs of their families. Essentially, it's their livelihoods. But NKRCP leased 4.7 million acres, which is a huge amount of land, from the Kenyan government at a rate of $2 per hectare per year. That's like a very low amount. Like per year, you pay $2 for a hectare of land. They are able to secure such a low rate from the government, obviously, and face very little resistance. Like you don't see that in the news, but they face very little resistance because obviously big organizations like that, they have backings from even international organizations such as like Conservation International, or maybe like WWF, things like that, well, that provide fundings for these projects, uh, which take away the value. Like, this is used land, it's productive land, used for and by the uh, indigenous population of an area that's just taken so that they could use it for carbon credits. It doesn't really make sense. Like, why, like, this productive land, it's being unused now. Like, they closed it up. You can't graze here. You can't hunt here. You can't, etc., etc. It basically limits all human activities in 4.7 million acres of land, simply just so they could produce this carbon credit certificates things. It's not really feasible from like an objective economic point of view. Like, it doesn't make sense. But obviously these large organizations, they have big financial backings. They could lobby, they could essentially corrupt officials by shoving payments, and not only like officials, but like tribesmen, tribes leaders. That's why they face so little resistance, is that they have large purchasing power. They could influence people within the community itself to offer up very little resistance against this stupid, this quote unquote stupid carbon credits thing. It doesn't really make sense. Like, this is productive land that they're taking away from the people. So another way that these large organizations, they try to maximize the output for a given area of land is by planting a ludicrous amount of trees. For example, in New Zealand, there was a case where an invasion and like an organization literally pushed to plant an invasive species of tree in New Zealand land in order to be a more effective carbon sink, I guess. But obviously things like this, it doesn't really work out, because the invasive trees turned out to actually erode the land and actually rendered the native species, like, it eroded the land. It made landslides, basically disrupting the natural ecology, the natural biodiversity of the place. So, as this good man, I think his name was Mordecai Olugade or something like that on YouTube, is very good. He explained a lot about this thing. He essentially described it as a big money laundering scheme, because, like, what is these carbon credits even based on? Like, there's nothing it's based on. It's basically like, they say, like, this amount of land could store this much carbon in a year, but it doesn't really work that way. In a way, like, you can't count how much carbon is stored in a place. It just, like, you can't count how much carbon comes out from a place in the same way. So yeah, I just feel like this carbon credits thing it's a strange thing. Like, I'm not saying like it's a money laundering scheme or whatever, but it's a strange thing, and I'm definitely interested in looking more into it and finding out what's it actually about. Like, yeah. Thanks.